We live in a world of dopamine loops, distraction, and urgency. Much of it all false senses of urgency and distraction. So if you feel stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure of your path as a creative, chances are you probably don't need anything more, you need less. You need to cut out the noise, the bullshit, and connect to silence. Because it's in that quiet space that you keep avoiding where you truly find yourself, clarity, and a deep fire of connection. So by the end of this video, I want to resource you with silence as a somatic practice for your creative journey. You'll understand why you're overstimulated and how you can reclaim silence as a practice, and just give yourself the space that you need on a daily basis to be able to stay connected to yourself in an increasingly chaotic world. So if you're new here, my name's Kev. I'm an award-winning furniture designer, and I help ambitious creatives get into their bodies, slow the fuck down, and create from depth. So let's just address this crisis of overstimulation, right? It's not hard to look around and see that so much of the world is designed to keep us distracted, is designed to just constantly fire our little neuroreceptors for dopamine and get us hooked on that constantly all day long. There's so little spaciousness. I would say there's no spaciousness in the lives of most people living in this contemporary culture. And that's you if you're watching this video, right? Most of us don't even have a home for our phones. It's just in our pocket. It's an extension for us. And we wonder why it's hard to feel clear. It's hard to feel really deeply connected to ourselves, and it's hard to feel confident in a world, in a media that is constantly telling us that there's something broken with you. Buy this thing. You know, it's sharp and rash, but anyone who's a multi-passionate creative has to understand that motion, action, and stimulation doesn't mean direction. It doesn't mean that you're conscious of where you're going. It doesn't mean that you are more connected to the dream that it looks like you're pursuing, right? We're so caught up in how things look. We have endless Pinterest boards. We have a YouTube feed full of inspirational videos. But if you're really discerning with yourself, is all of that noise actually helping you connect more to yourself and do the hard work that it takes to become more embodied in giving? Or is it all just a distraction, keeping you just one layer separate from living the life that you want because it's close enough? So what happens is, if we're constantly inundated with input, we are going to have our attention fractured and fragmented and split. We're going to be overstimulated all the time because we're looking for that next quick hit to give us inspiration. And chances are you don't need any more inspiration. What you need is a discipline to say, enough. I need space. I need stillness, right? Silence isn't just about healing. It is, there's so much healing in silence. But really what silence is claiming in this world is a boundary. It's a boundary from the world that allows you to remember yourself. When you consciously choose to say, I'm done. Enough of this media, enough of this consumption, enough of this hyper speedy hustle culture. You're creating a really powerful boundary between you and the world around you so that you have the space needed to connect to yourself. That's fucking powerful. Not to mention how that impacts your nervous system. Without safety and a sense of stillness, we're going to be tricked into that sympathetic activation, that fight or flight, whether we like it or not. And so we can't access our deepest creative potential and expression when we are just trying to survive. Yet we don't know that we're stuck in that loop, right? So this is why silence liberates us as creatives, and why we all need silence as a somatic practice, Silence isn't a passive thing. It's not the absence. It's really the container that allows you to integrate, to digest and metabolize everything that you're carrying, you're feeling, and experiencing, right? In that stillness is where we really find connection to our real voice, the voice of our power and our potential, not the ones that are looking for external validation, the ones the world taught us to use so that we could be the good boy, the good girl, and get the rewards that the system promises. We connect to the voice that's rooted in our truth, ours and ours alone. So just to give you a reference point, right? It's if you don't create space for this practice, nobody else will. That's why we have, people that are spending 4 to 5 hours a day on their phone. This equates to 2 months, 60-something days out of every 12 months that you are not present. You're not here. You're on your phone. That's fucking sad, right? And just giving yourself 15 minutes a day to meticulously do nothing. To be silent, to not listen to music, to not be running, to not be exercising, to just be still. It doesn't mean you're meditating. It just means you're completely downshifted from needing to be anything other than what you are in the world. That's really, really powerful, but we avoid that because we don't see the fruit in it, So why do we avoid silence as multi-passionate creatives? Silence is really confronting. It's loud there. Again, it's not the absence, it's where we discover our fullness. And that's where we're going to meet our doubt, our shadows, our shame, our uncertainty, all of those things. And that can be a lot to hold, especially if we don't have the right resources. That's exactly why I designed the Embodied Creator Toolkit, a resource to help you go to those places and to make it fun, but to feel like you have the tools that you need to embrace them, because it's deep work, right? So we fear silence because it's really holding us the mirror that we've been avoiding holding up for ourselves. Who are you when you're not producing? When you're not doing anything? When nobody's looking? What's the true integrity, the true flavor of your embodiment right now when you have nothing to attend to but yourself? And you'll see just how easy it is to keep putting your identity, your sense of value and worth in what you do, not who you are. Because who you are is not what you do. That's a branch. But who you are is rooted so much deeper. It's in the state of your self-connection and your nervous system and your capacity to be present. That tells the story. Words fall short here, right? Your presence tells the story of who you are. So if your creativity is not feeling magnetic, is feeling a little lackluster and dull, it's because you don't have enough spaciousness in your life. You might be swept up in the distractions and the throes of the dopamine cycles of needing to stay up to date and producing as much as everyone else. But your deepest work is born in the silence that you're avoiding. The deep stillness is where we're connected, and that's where our most powerful work is created from. So here are some practical ways to reclaim your silence. And it's so fucking simple, but again, simple is not easy. And if you're anything like me, you take a look at something so simple and you're like, that can't possibly be the answer. And it's true. There's no one answer, right? But it's creating practices that give us the space to really connect to something deeper. That's not about the world around us, it's about us. So, first and foremost, morning stillness without your phone. I challenge you to find a home for your phone. Wake up in the morning and go 30 minutes without looking at your phone or engaging with technology. Or if you have to, read a goddamn newspaper, right? And if that's already part of your day, beautiful. You are ahead of 99.9% of people. So start incorporating that into your life. And then throughout your day, whenever you notice that you haven't been breathing or aware of your breath, do a 5-minute check-in. Just tune out for a second, take a little break, close your eyes, start breathing, and just feel your body. Like, oh man, I'm sore. I didn't realize like that I'm sore in my hips. Or like, gosh, I've had this thing the last couple of days where my right arm is just nonstop twitching, and I feel like no matter how much water I drink, I'm still dehydrated. Putting a lot of salt minerals in my water still happens. You get the point. But just become aware of what's actually happening inside of your body, right? Do a 5-minute check-in. Do that 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 times a day. And then disconnection is often the place where we find reconnection. So time alone, prioritize your commitment to self. Spend time in nature, but don't do it in a distracting way. Don't be one of those people that's got their AirPods in listening to a podcast. Be in nature and just experience how loud it is. Hear the birds, hear the ocean, hear the creek, all of those things. Do that for at least 10 minutes, then listen to your juicy podcast or whatever. Not knocking on podcasts, but you see how we start to just fill those sacred spaces with more shit, right? You could be listening to the most transformational self-help podcast. You could be listening to this video, but that kind of defeats the purpose if that space is dedicated to you connecting to yourself, right? So the micropause, another practice, literally like when I'm writing, if I'm at a coffee shop, if I'm out in the world working on a project, taking 30 seconds to just breathe, close my eyes, drink some water, all of those simple little things. And then create a silence. Just put your pen on the paper. Don't consume anything. Just see what happens when you are silent and you're just giving yourself 10 minutes to write, to ideate. What do you crave? What's most important for you today? What do you need to do in order to die fulfilled tonight, So in a world where everyone and everything is telling us to speak louder, to do more, to post more, to try this, to try that, as much as I'm a fan of experimenting, your practice is to slow the fuck down, get grounded and connected to yourself, and learn to create from that deep place of connection, presence, and silence, So sit in silence today, 5 minutes. Don't escape, just return to what's alive in your body. And then once you feel connected to yourself, consider what might become available if this is the way that you start every single day in self-connection. And so I want to help you create that practice of self-connection. So check out the Embodied Creator Toolkit. It's a series of experiments just like these that I've outlined to help you get connected to yourself so that you can create from deep presence. And be sure to sign up for the newsletter. It's a free resource. And subscribe to this channel for more. So I'll see you on the next one. Ciao.